Hi, I'm Gail Eckebert with SWON Libraries. Today I will be bringing you a little program on finding copyright-free images online. Given the COVID-19 crisis, we're all creating virtual content, and virtual stuff is so much better if it incorporates images and videos. The internet is just chock full of fabulous images, and it's really easy to copy and paste stuff into our own work. However, there's a big problem with this. Just because an image, oops, we went too forward. Going crazy. Just because an image is accessible on the internet, it does not mean it's free to use. The artist, photographer, or rights holder automatically has rights in the work he or she creates. Unless these rights are shared, the image is not free to use, even if it's just sitting there on the internet. But don't despair. There are a number of sites where free images and videos and even music are available. They each have different rules about how the images can be used, so we have to be careful about that. There are basically three types of sites offering free images. There are curated collections of images, so sites that do nothing but provide free images, and they have licensing for the whole group of images. The second category is Google Images, which is a huge site, but one can filter to find free images on Google Images, and we'll talk about how to do that. And the third are crowdsourced collections. Wikimedia Commons and Flickr are two that come to mind, where there are images that you can use for free. So let's talk about curated collections for a minute. So these are limited in ways in which you can use them, and you have to check out what the site allows. The topics you need to look at are commercial or non-commercial use. Of course, for libraries, we're almost always non-commercial. You have to look to see if you can edit or modify the image. And finally, you must determine if you can attribute the image to if you have to attribute the image to its creator or not. What's generally not allowed on these collections: identifiable people cannot appear in a bad light or in a way that is offensive. You can't sell unaltered copies of the photo or video as a poster, print, or physical product without modifying it first to make it your own. You are not able to imply endorsements of your own product by people or brands on the imagery. You're not supposed to redistribute or sell photos or videos on other stock photo or wallpaper platforms. That's all out of the Pexels license. Other rules: often mass distribution of the image is forbidden. Can't be used in a trademark. You may need to have attribution to the photographer. And a lot of times they just don't want you using their images to set up new free image websites, which kind of makes sense. So a sampling of content. There are two big sites that I would suggest you check out. And incidentally, all the links to these sites are in the discussion part of this video, and the last slide in the video includes the links as well. Pixabay is a big site. It includes photos, illustrations, vectors, videos, and music. Another large site is Pexels, and you can easily find thousands of photos and videos on Pexels' website. There are a lot of other sites that provide free images, and check out the links associated with this program. There are lots of them, and they all are a little bit different. So when you go into these sites, the searchability is really easy. Most of the sites are searchable in two ways. There's a keyword search, just like any Google search, and a category browse, which will bring up particular types of images that you might want to look at. So here's the Pexels page, and you can see on the top there's a keyword insert where you can put particular keywords that might lead to photos you're looking for. Or if you look across the bottom, there are lots of categories: happy, money, Christmas, food, etc., where you might search happily for an area of interest that you have. One caveat is I get lost in these, and I think you will too. You keep finding more and more interesting pictures that aren't exactly what you want. So if you want to be more precise, go ahead and use the keyword. So, two other ways to find free images online. The first one is Google Images. Now, Google Images is not entirely free. In fact, basically, Google goes out over the entire internet and just sucks up images and puts it on its site. However, there is a way to filter down to free permissions, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The other sites are crowdsourcing sites where people add their own work with their own permissions. The two big ones are Wikimedia Commons and Flickr, and we'll talk about those in just a minute. So a caveat for these sites, Google Images as well as the crowdsourcing sites, they're not curated collections. They are compilations of images that grant some free usage, and that usage can be different image to image. The photographer or author has determined how the image may be used, and you need to check that out before you copy it. So let's talk about Google Images first. You're going to go to Google Images, and you're going to type a keyword search. When a keyword comes up, there's a bar kind of across the top of the page. Click on Tools, then click on Usage Rights. Usage Rights will drop down a menu that has many possibilities, labeled for reuse and modification, commercial, not commercial. So you choose the licensing that you want to pick from, and then you download an image. We'll have a look at the site here. So here it is, and you can see the default is not filtered by license, which will bring up all sorts of stuff, much of which is copyright protected, but you can choose labeled for reuse, labeled for non-commercial reuse, etc., etc. So go ahead and choose the area that you want or the category that you want, and it's going to bring up a lot of pictures. Okay, notice across the top of the page, there's always the sponsored ads, and they're trying to sell you something. Just ignore them. It's not going to help you out. So start to scroll through and look at the millions. For maximum cuteness, I had typed in puppies here. Type in whatever you like and scroll down across the millions of pictures that are going to come up. Go ahead and click on a picture. The picture will come up in a larger format, and underneath it, there will be a site to where Google found the image. If you click on that site, go ahead and do that. We're going to go to the next slide. It's going to give you some information about how that particular picture can be used. And if you look here in this very tiny print, it says that you can use it for commercial or non-commercial. You can modify it. You don't have to attribute. So that's Google. Look at every single image. Wikimedia is kind of the same deal. There are millions of free images and videos. And like Google, you need to check the permissions on each image. Download the image. At the bottom of the screen, below the image, click the Creative Commons link, which will detail the permissions. Okay, here I've got a really picture of a weird plant, Miss Wilmot's ghost. And if you look down in the right-hand corner, you will see the Creative Commons license that tells you how you can use this image. And when you click on that, you'll see here you can copy and redistribute the material in any medium or format. You can remix, transform, and build upon the material for any purpose, even commercially. And you must give appropriate credit and provide a link to the license, the Creative Commons license, and indicate if changes were made. So you're free to use it, but there's a few caveats that you have to take care to do it correctly. Flickr is the other crowdsourcing site. You can go to flickr.com, explore, choose an image, and then at the bottom of the particular images, look for permissions. Okay, we're back to puppies again. And so grab a puppy image right there and click on it. Here it comes up again, and down in the right-hand corner, you'll see some rights are reserved. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the Creative Commons license again, and it's similar to the one we just looked at. So you can see exactly how you can use the image. Another feature of Flickr is the Commons. They have a whole category of photo archives. Most of them are older photos and public domain photos, so that you can go into the Commons and find free things based on the institutions that they come from. So that's kind of a fun browse to find more images. And finally, here's a list of all the resources. This is in the discussion part of this video as well. And it's self-explanatory. Go ahead and explore and create and have fun using these resources, and don't violate copyright. Thanks a lot.